I compared Zoro and Sanji in Egghead Island to see who was the MVP, and of course, that got everybody triggered. I used a point system with each good moment they had in Egghead to tally up a score to decide who was the MVP at the end of the video. Similarly to that video, I will be going through every attribute or stat in relation to what's relevant in fighting in One Piece. And at the end of the video, whoever has more tallied up stats over the other will be crowned the better fighter. I know, some of you guys are so mad right now, saying, oh my god, Sanji fans are so insecure, that's the only way they can make Sanji close to Zoro, is by power scaling like this. Shut the fuck up, boy. I will preface in this video before I get mass reported and people dislike and say I'm not watching the video no more. I already gave my take on Zoro vs Sanji many times. This video is not to prove that Sanji or whoever wins is stronger than the other. I have Zoro stronger than Sanji, so just calm the fuck down. There's no bias in this video. This is strictly for fun purposes. I'm not gonna lie, I want to get people mad. The stats we will be using in this video are as follows: strength, attack power, defense, speed, durability, endurance, stamina, Emman Hockey, observation hockey, conquerors hockey, and general IQ. Go ahead and leave a comment on what you predict each character will have in terms of stats. Also leave a like while you're down there and subscribe if you guys are new. Firstly, let's talk about strength. Up until recording this video, I never gave this a thought because I always felt like it was a no-brainer for Zoro to be physically stronger than Sanji, because he's the guy that's lifting all these weights, lifting all these heavy things throughout One Piece, and it's kind of been portrayed that Zoro is physically strong as hell. But thinking about it logically, does it make sense for him to be physically stronger than Sanji? I'm just talking about your physicals here, guys. I don't want to sound like I'm biased because, guys, I'm genuinely stuck. So let's break this down. You could believe that Zoro has superior upper body physical strength, that's fine, but you cannot disagree that Sanji's lower body is superior than Zoro's. So then it comes down to like, hey, what do you think is stronger, his upper body or Sanji's lower body? Because they're both physical strength. Let me ask you this question: do you think Zoro can punch with more power than Sanji can kick? The answer should be no, right? So it comes down to what you think has more power, Sanji's leg strength or Zoro's strength, especially when you remember Sanji has enhanced physical strength now that he's a modified human, and his legs were already pretty strong prior. I agree that Zoro could be portrayed to have his physicals more highlighted in the series and also having the knee gorilla, the two gorilla bullshit with his muscles, but I won't sit here and act like Zoro can output more power in his fist since Sanji's insanely developed legs with modifications. Like, if there was overwhelming feats or overwhelming portrayal that shows Zoro as just a physicality insane monster like Whitebeard, then I wouldn't have this discussion. He doesn't have convincing feats that make this obvious or have that overwhelming portrayal, nor is he a top tier to be automatically assuming his physicals could just be better. He trains a lot, so I wouldn't be mad if someone assumed this, and it's not a bad opinion, it's actually a valid opinion. But Sanji is also a martial artist that's been through hell and back with just the power of his legs that are now scientifically modified. I think it's safe to assume that his legs are more strengthened. Sanji's best strength feat is kicking that fat ass queen out of Onigashima like he's Team Rocket. People would say Zoro's best feat is blocking Hakai. Saying that's a strength feat would have complications since Zoro couldn't block a slash from King for even a fraction that he did for Hakai, meaning we would have to scale that slash over Hakai, and that slash attack hit Queen and didn't face him at all, while Sanji sent Queen flying. So yeah, that was probably more of an endurance and somewhat of a defense feat. Being able to stop that attack with your guard while sacrificing your body in the process is what he did. He blocked that attack because he was willing to sacrifice his body and pretty much die blocking it. With the King one, not so much. And beyond that feat, Zoro's main strength feats are pre-time skip or highlighted pre-time skip, so I don't know. I don't give a fuck. Y'all could call me biased and delusional, but present me with an actual argument because I don't mind changing my opinion. It's 5 a.m. I'm tired as fuck. I spent 1 hour thinking about this. Please just leave me alone. Like, I couldn't come up with a decision, and I don't want to give this a draw because I sound like a pussy. So I'll give strength to Sanji, and Sanji fans, you better work overtime in that fucking comment section. So the next section is defense. By defense, I mean the damage reduction and evasion. Zoro actually takes precaution of taking hits and maneuvers around them better than Sanji, which was definitely showcased in the recent fight in Wano. Zoro was getting hit by King, but he was either trying to block and got overpowered or try to parry his hits. He even used Emman Hockey to protect himself from an explosion, which I never see Sanji use his ornament in that way at all, to protect himself. Sanji in his fights with Queen got caught and hit with things that he didn't necessarily take precautions or attempt to at least dodge or parry, and negate any type of damage. So for defense, I'll give that to Zoro. Attack power. Attack power is pretty one-sided. Zoro is extremely lethal and has showcased a way better attack power for each throughout One Piece than Sanji. The most recent one in Wano against Kaido where he scarred him, and against King making him fear his attack power even though he was seemingly invincible. You factor in Advanced Conqueror's Hockey too, and that Enma attacks, on paper and just what's been displayed, Zoro should comfortably take this stat. I don't think anyone would disagree. Speed. This is another obvious one. Sanji is portrayed as being one of, if not the fastest character in One Piece thus far. Obviously not the fastest, but you know, I just want to say that. It's not cool. Having the ability to completely disappear as if he's invisible, and Oda even goes out his way to highlight that in an SBS, saying he has the power to disappear. Meaning this isn't something he could just do against fodder characters. There's also attack speed, which could be included into speed, which could kind of be argued for Zoro since attacks like Shishi Sonsong, it's called Lion Song in English, I'm fucking retarded. That attack always blitzes any opponent, but that isn't consistent with every attack, whereas for Sanji, he can utilize his vanishing speed with an attack like he did for Hell's Memories, technically making his attack speed kinda crazy. And it was also said the high temperature of his legs makes his attack speed faster. Now with blue fire being extremely hot, that would make his attack speed very high. No matter how you slice it, speed goes to Sanji. Durability. Another obvious one that goes to Sanji. Sanji has a literal exoskeleton that will probably get stronger alongside him. Even Sanji and Egghead was getting hit by a ton of bullshit and didn't have any visible damage, and even flexes durability on S.I.Q, just the nature of his body being able to break a sword from Queen, while Zoro in comparison would get sliced and diced if he stood there and tried to take sword swings. So durability goes to Sanji. Let's talk about endurance. Zoro has been portrayed to be the poster boy of what ridiculous endurance looks like. In Wano, Zoro also showcased ridiculous endurance when he was fighting with almost all his bones broken against Kaido. Some Sanji fans may argue that Sanji's endurance is better since he got his entire body crushed and his bones broken, and claimed it only stings and he can move just fine. But to play devil's advocate once again, I think it's more impressive honestly to be able to function while feeling the effects of what happened to your body, which Zoro was capable of doing. When you look at what endurance means, it's how you endure the damage and the effects it has on you without giving way. Sanji getting his body destroyed doesn't seem like it has the same effect on his modified body like it would for a human like Zoro. Just because we see Sanji say, "It stings," while his body just got crushed, like that doesn't even make sense. Meaning Zoro probably deals with its effects harsher than Sanji did, and he has to endure more to keep fighting. Even though Sanji's body can probably take more damage, I don't know if Sanji can endure the pain and effects of damage if they both were to feel it the same way. But then to play devil's advocate for Sanji, at the same time, Sanji's body can probably endure more since he feels fine after getting his body destroyed. And combine that with regeneration, his body can technically endure more than Zoro's can. So honestly, there's two ways you can look at this in terms of endurance, and I can't choose one, so I'm just gonna leave this at equal, because there's kind of two ways you can categorize their endurance and who portrays it better, if you get what I'm trying to say. So honestly, for endurance, I'm gonna leave it at a draw. Stamina. This is another controversial one. This is gonna get you guys mad once again. Like, I don't like arguments, guys. Type up in the comments, please. Don't say some dumb shit. I think it's a common take that Sanji has bad stamina, which I don't agree with. The fact that Sanji passed out against Queen is the argument for people saying this. People don't realize it's an accumulation of things that also attributed to him being tired after the fight with Queen. The whole Black Mirror situation, then he went to fight Queen, then fighting King and Queen together, then having a whole awakening, getting his body destroyed, all the mental conflict and what he was going through, and then you add on the fact that he used his invisible speed for a period of time, which drained his stamina a lot. So it makes sense for him to pass out after the fight, but it doesn't make his stamina necessarily bad. I would argue stamina is better than Zoro's simply because Zoro has stamina issues with Enma. Yes, Sanji has stamina issues with his invisible speed, but he doesn't have to spam it or use it in the duration he did against Queen. He did that against Queen specifically to counter his invisibility. He showed he can use it in spurts like he did with Hell's Memories, which would be less taxing on his stamina, while in this case not having the scenarios he did prior in the war on Onigashima that also drained his stamina. But Zoro's case, assuming he's fighting at his best when we're looking at this stat, his strongest mode is King of Hell. And using King of Hell, he obviously has a time limit. He can only fight for so long until his sword kills him. So I think Sanji's stamina in general is better than Zoro, who starts a fight with King of Hell, which it seems like Zoro's gonna start to do when he's fighting a semi-strong opponent, like he did with Rob Lucci. Emman Hockey. This category goes to Zoro for two reasons. His Emman Hockey, or Rio, was displayed to be pretty powerful with Enma against Kaido, especially using Dragon Blaze, for example. And he just had his Emman Hockey more highlighted in the story, and also his specialty Hockey is ornament, so he probably trained it more than Sanji during the time skip. Observation Hockey, this goes to Sanji. This happens to be Sanji's specialty Hockey, and I believe he showed better observation throughout the post time skip. If you consider his woman sensing as observation, then this should clearly be obvious because Sanji has some of the most insane observation feats when it comes to women. Jinbei even gassed up his Hockey to say it was better than his based off that reason. But besides that, other things like dodging Katakuri's jellybean, which was really impressive, him and Nami's body searching for Kinemon's missing body parts in the ocean. Zoro does have some decent observation feats, like the one with Kaku where he blocked Kaku while he was sleeping, but I just believe Sanji's was just more highlighted in the series, similar to how Zoro's ornament was more highlighted than Sanji's. And it's Sanji's specialty once again. Conqueror's Hockey. This is quite awkward. Yes, Zoro gets this. For now. I'm trolling. Just trolling. Now, for the last thing is general IQ. I'll give this to Sanji by only explaining Zoro's stupidity. Zoro decides to stall Lucci while everything was going to shit in Egghead Island. He heard a buster call going on and felt the dangerous presence of Saturn, and he didn't lock in. He heard Sanji talk shit and then decided to one-shot Lucci. So he could have done that whenever he fucking wanted to, is my point. Even in the midst of the fight, he decided to put one sword away. Like, what the fuck is the point of that if you could just beat him? You know what I'm trying to say? But the icing on the cake was when him and Luffy were exhausting themselves fighting the Seraphim while Zoro seeing the resemblance they share with King. He even listed them out and said he couldn't make the correlations to figure out who the fuck they were. Zoro admits if he wasn't a retard, he could have saved some stamina. So like that type of shit will cost you in a battle. So as you can see in Egghead alone, he's not acting the brightest. And that's an Egghead, and I think Zoro's best IQ moment in terms of battle strategy or just fighting was with King. Sanji had plenty of fights where he had to use his brain to win the fight, probably more than Zoro as I'm showing on the screen. And I think Sanji is more of a battle strategist displayed in instances like Enies Lobby, and when they had to attack Big Mom's ship. Zoro does have similar moments, I won't lie, but I just think Sanji has more. And I think Zoro just has more dumb moments. That's what's really weighing him down. So that's the last stat. After all my calculations, the score is 6-4. Sanji wins, making him the superior fighter. Yes, Sanji's stronger than Zoro, guys. I guess that's the case. There's most controversial ones being strength, stamina, and endurance. Listen, guys, maybe I'll respond to the comments, but I'm gonna ignore most of it. I'll be completely honest. I'm not gonna get rage baited. You guys are not gonna cry to me. I'm not gonna respond. Like, I don't care. But I will respond to genuine comments that do make sense, or genuine like critique. So yeah, guys, that's it. Take care. Leave a like, subscribe. Peace.